Let's cut to the chase. As a writer, you probably have one big question. How do I write a book that people actually want to read? And more importantly, buy? It's easy to get caught up in the idea of crafting the perfect story, getting lost in the weeds of plot development, and thinking that once you finish your manuscript, the readers will just come. They'll hear about your book and flock to it. But of course, you know the harsh truth. That's not how it works at all. Today, I'm going to break it down for you. We're going to talk about the real reason people buy books and how you can tap into that and make sure that you write something that stands out in a crowded market. Now, first, I want to start by addressing one of the criticisms we hear all the time. That market is too crowded. We hear this a lot. Thrillers, romance novels, or children's books. The fact is, a crowded market is actually a good thing. So that's the first thing you need to do, is change your mindset around a crowded, popular market. It means that people want to read those books, that they want to buy those books. So see it as a good thing. Every writer gets to a point where they ask themselves, why isn't anyone buying my book? Or they ask, will people buy my book? Is my manuscript connecting with readers? And I totally understand. You poured your heart and soul into your writing, but let's face it, writing a book isn't necessarily the hard part. Selling it is. That's the truth. How do you make people actually want to read and, more importantly, buy what you've spent all of this time writing? It all starts with one simple question. What does your audience actually want? Because you can write the most beautifully crafted sentences, but if your story isn't what your readers are looking for, then it doesn't matter. What we need to remember as authors is that the market is king. You need to make sure that your book answers a burning question for their readers. It taps into a deep desire they have, talks to a specific need, entertains them, or it aligns with that genre that they love. This isn't about copying what's popular at all. It's about finding where your writing and your audience's desires intersect. This is what a lot of authors do wrong. They write something that they want to write rather than something that readers want to read. To be very clear, I don't mean that you have to go out there, do market research, and only write something that people tell you they want. What I'm really getting at here is that whether you're writing a memoir about your life, whether you're writing a children's book, there needs to be some interaction with your potential readers to figure out, is this something that they would want to read? Of course you want to tell your story. The point here is really about thinking about the topics within your story or the main lesson that you want to get across and making sure that it resonates with your audience in a way that they can connect with it. The first step here is to stop writing in a vacuum. You need to figure out what your readers are looking for and then write a book that serves that. And again, these are the topics where, are they looking for an escape, a deep emotional journey? Do they want a good old-fashioned entertaining story that they just can't put down? Get into the mindset of your audience and then ask yourself, what do they need? The most successful authors I know make it about the reader. I want to make it very clear as well, I'm not saying to follow the latest trends. You should probably do the opposite of that, but really understand what works. It's always helpful to look at other bestsellers and figure out, why did readers pick this book up? What are they offering that people love? Understand reader psychology. That will help you craft and position your book in the right way. The other way to look at this is that people buy books that solve problems. Whether that's entertaining them for an hour when they're sat on a train, or they've got a problem and they need a solution to it, or there's something they're struggling to understand or make sense of, and they know they need a correction, but they just don't know what it is. Your book is the solution to that problem. I actually tell authors all the time, you should approach a book in a similar way to you would starting a business. A business solves a problem for people. People have a problem, they want a solution, they want the antidote to the pain. And the same is true for reading. Readers don't understand biology, so they go and buy a book that makes biology simple. Readers are bored in the evenings. They've got an 8-hour plane journey ahead of them and they've got nothing to do. They want to be entertained, right? That's their problem, and your book solves that. Getting more into the finer details, your book needs a hook. Every successful book has this, something that immediately grabs the the reader's attention. It could be a unique twist on a familiar story, an emotionally charged journey, or a very relatable character. If your book doesn't have one thing that grabs the reader from the very first page, you're immediately going to struggle. Readers, as I'm sure you know, have short attention spans. They want to know immediately why your book is worth their time. I would also argue that most writers drop the ball in a really big way. They don't talk to their readers enough. If you're not engaging with your audience through social media, an email newsletter, or here on YouTube, then you're missing out on really valuable feedback. You need to have a relationship with your readers, especially if you're in this for the long term, because you want to know what they enjoyed, what they didn't enjoy. That's all extremely valuable feedback that you can take and then put into your next book, or even the same book, because these days with print on demand, you can update a book at any time. To make this more actionable for you and to take the next steps, you want to know how to write a book that people actually want to buy. Here is the first step. Understand your audience. Don't write in isolation, and ask yourself while you're writing, what is it that my ideal reader craves? And then of course, give it to them. And like we spoke about before, make a hook. You need to grab their attention right from the first page with that unique twist or a character that's just impossible to ignore. Focus on making your story irresistible, and then engage with your readers. Do this even before the book is released. Do this while you're writing the book, because if you're sharing snippets of the book with fans, you build your tribe. They also feel like they are part of the book, and then when you launch the book, they will go out and buy it because their feedback has gone into the book and improving it. So they are so invested. And finally, really think about that solving a problem with your book. Switch the mindset from writing to your book solves a problem, whether that is entertaining the reader or helping them, learn something new. You might be thinking at this stage, well, that's all wonderful advice, Patrick, but I'm just too far into the manuscript now. I can't change now. Well, the fact is you can fix this at any point. You just need to go back over your book, and it's actually probably better if you've written some of it, because you can look and say, is my hook strong enough? Does it speak to my audience? Do I need to rewrite certain parts of it? Get on social media now and share snippets with your audience and get feedback. The fact is, you're not just going to write a book and have people come to you. If you want your book to sell, you need to treat your writing like a business and understand what your readers want. And yes, once your book is released, you can do marketing and PR and really promote the book. But honestly, by engaging your readers much sooner, it will make it 10 times easier when you release your book. You'll probably sell 10 times more copies, and you'll be a more successful author. The big takeaway here is ultimately to write the book that readers want to read, not just the one that you would like to write. Get in their heads, figure out what they're looking for, and give it to them. You can still tell your story, you can still tell it in your way, but just make sure that it hooks them, it speaks to them, and it is solving a problem for them. Right now, I'm sure YouTube is showing another helpful and valuable video of mine right here, so make sure to go and watch that next.